This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and this is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Friday, April 1st, 2016, Learning from Obama, and I would put exclamation point twice, ditto. So at the end of 2015, Obama's popularity ratings were still in the tank. I'd say they were like 42%, something like that. And they have been in that 45 to 40% for a lot of his presidency and for his second term. But right now, 3 months, technically we're 4 months into the new year, his popularity, his approval ratings have gone up 11% to 53%. And the question is, and I've been noticing this too, the trend has been quite striking. And the question is why. I would say one of the reasons why, along with Dr. Krugman, is that the Republicans have shown by the way they have conducted themselves throughout this campaign is they really suck. And it just shows that, no drama Obama has quietly and efficiently and effectively done a lot of good for the country while they've been running around screaming like they have their chickens with their heads cut off, so to speak. I wonder where that concept came from. But so he's had a successful presidency as we're getting into the twilight. We saw today the job numbers, 215,000 increase in jobs. I believe that is 73 months in a row, which is unprecedented since the World War II. And what has happened for Obama in these years, especially to show that his popularity and his approval ratings have gone up. The economy is steady. It is steady growth. We're at 5%, which is, remember, we've been at that 5% for a number of months. And Mitt Romney said he'd be at 6% at the end of 2016. So we've done much, much better even than what Mitt Romney had said. And remember, everything that Obama advocated for, the Republicans screaming and yelling, for the last 4 years, the last 8 years, that everything Obama has advocated for are job killers. And what we found, yes, after he came in after Bush, we still had a steady stream of jobs going away. 800,000, I believe, was the highest month. But it went down, and still we're losing jobs as we were losing less jobs. But then again, 73 months in a row, this month 215,000. How can you say that they're a killer, that he's killing jobs? And the next thing is the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and they screamed even louder about those being job killers. And we could see clearly right now that Obamacare is working. It's helping more Americans. They said that 89% of Americans would be insured by this time. It's now 90%. And that's great. And the Republicans want to get rid of it lock, stock, and barrel. And after 6 years, they haven't come up with one solution for it because they know that anything they come up with has to be close to Obamacare, and they can't come up with one. Paul Ryan has been promising for 3 or 4 years to come up with something, and it's going to be great, but they've never come up with anything. The next thing was on financial reform. Yes, we still have big banks. Yes, we haven't broken up big banks. But we do have the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has given back billions of dollars to the consumer. It's working even as the Republicans are trying to neuter it by not having enough people on it to be able to actually run it effectively. And yes, we're working with big banks. Yes, we should be breaking them up. But well, maybe not, according to Hillary. Bernie wants to break them up. Krugman says we don't need to break them up. But what we do know is we're monitoring them more effectively, and they're not going to, we are going to be able to handle it if something goes wrong, but we have to have ever vigilance against it. The last thing he mentions was on the environment. Obama has been doing by executive order, which if another Democrat gets into office will be maintained, what the Republicans have not been able to do. So he's taken the laws, he's interpreted them, he's had executive orders, which the Republicans know they can't overturn by having a vote. So they sue him. And of course, they had a very compliant Supreme Court, which isn't going to happen now that Scalia's not there. And so what are they doing? They're doing their lawlessness again, and not even having a vote on the next Supreme Court nominee. So when you look at it, Obama has had quite a record. Now, it's not what we thought would happen when we elected Obama in 2008. We thought, especially the liberals, that, oh man, this guy's going to do for us what we can't do for ourselves. And I really blame the liberals, because even though I was just a working schmo, the idea was we needed to be pushing Obama right from the beginning, pushing him and pushing him and pushing him further to the left. And clearly indicate that he was not going to get anything complimentary from the Republicans on anything, Now, and because what has really happened was the Republicans haven't changed in decades, and they've just doubled down on that ever since Obama came in. So their premise of what they're going to do to help the economy is tax cuts, and tax cuts, saying that it works, that tax cuts pay for themselves, when in the history of the entire fucking world, that has never happened, and it never will happen. But they keep on saying that it's going to happen. And of course, the Republicans have kept their friends pretty close, meaning Big Pharma, the oil industry, Wall Street. They've kept them really tight. And so tax cuts, Big Pharma, Big Oil, Wall Street, that's the only game that they can play. They're not doing anything for the average working person in the United States. So even though we have more jobs now, the unemployment rate is lower. We need better jobs. We need a higher minimum wage. The wages that are out there now still are stagnant, going back all the way to 1973. For the average working person, that all has to change. But from the overall aspect of what has gone on, he has been successful. And Dr. Krugman points out, you don't have to be complete in terms of what we think should have been done in the Obama administration, or what we think would come out of a Sanders or a Clinton administration. But it doesn't have to be complete to be real. But we can't let up in any way, shape, or form. It has to be all out progression to the left, from now on, and have to have that same, how would you say what our friends are doing? Our friends are angry all the time, and they vote in off election years. We need to have that. That has to be going on. I want to say a quick thing about this is that I've seemed to have noticed that a lot on the far left on our side, a lot of vitriol against Hillary, against Bernie, to the point that there are many saying that they will not vote for Hillary if Bernie is in, war criminal, drop bombs on Libya, all this other kind of stuff in South America. And of course, I could agree, she's not the perfect candidate. We all have tremendous amount of character defects and flaws. She brings a mixed bag to the table. But she is so far so superior to anything that the Republicans are showing out right now. It is inconceivable to me that anyone who is going for Bernie would not go for Hillary. I understand there's a lot of passion out there, but Hillary is so much superior to any of those three fools. So the last thing Dr. Krugman points out is he makes two references, one to the Beatles and one to the Rolling Stones. The first one was the Beatles revolution. Hey, you want a revolution? Yeah, well, we all know, say you want a revolution, we all want to change the world. But then he points out from the Rolling Stones song, you can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. If you try, sometimes you'll get what you need. And the point is, we got to keep trying and trying and trying. And our passion and our disdain for what is being presented by our esteemed competition has to be at its highest levels, not only up to the day of the election, but from the day after the election right through the next election. It has to be nonstop, because sometimes if you get what you need, that still isn't enough, and we're not there yet. Again, Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal. I'm on Facebook under The Lifetime Liberal, all one word, join, comment. All comments, both positive and negative, always appreciated.